Welcome back to Coin Secrets Empire, the place where hidden treasures come to life and pocket change can turn into jaw-dropping riches today. We are diving into the world of the most valuable, most wanted 1 cent. Lincoln pennies and legendary wheat pennies, coins that look ordinary but could secretly be worth hundreds, thousands, or even life-changing money. Imagine holding a simple penny that could pay your bills, fuel your dreams, or shock collectors around. The world in this episode, you will discover rare dates, mint marks, minting mistakes, and the secret signs that separate common coins from elite collector prizes. So before you spend another penny, make sure you watch every second, because the next coin you check might be the treasure everyone else missed right now. Coin hunters, history lovers, and treasure seekers, today you are about to discover one of the most misunderstood and secretly hunted coins in American history, the 1975 1 cent. Lincoln penny, a coin most people ignore, toss into jars, or spend without a second thought. Yet hidden inside this ordinary copper-colored cent is a world of rare errors, mint mysteries, collector obsession, and shocking values that have turned pocket change into serious money. This is not a joke, this is not clickbait, and this is not some fantasy story. This is real United States coin history unfolding right in front of you. Because while millions of 1975 pennies were struck and released into circulation, only a tiny number carry the traits that collectors dream about and fight over behind closed doors auctions and private sales. This penny was born in a chaotic era of American minting. When inflation was rising, copper prices were unstable, quality control was slipping, and mistakes were quietly slipping through the cracks, and those mistakes are exactly what make the 1975 Lincoln cent one of the most wanted modern-era pennies in the USA today. Imagine finding a small brown coin in an old drawer, inherited box, or forgotten piggy bank, only to realize it carries a rare doubled die, a dramatic off-center strike, a clipped planchette, or a die crack that transforms it from face value into a collector's prize, worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. This exact scenario has happened more times than people realize, and many valuable examples are still out there waiting to be found because, unlike famous early pennies, these coins circulated heavily. They were used by kids, adults, cashiers, and banks for decades, which means the treasure hunt is still alive right now. The 1975 Lincoln penny features the iconic Abraham Lincoln portrait on the obverse, strong, bold, and familiar, designed by Victor David Brenner. A design that has survived wars, depressions, and cultural revolutions, and on the reverse the Lincoln Memorial stands proud. Yet behind this familiar look lies a battlefield of microscopic details where fortunes are made or lost by the thickness of a letter, the spread of a date, or the strength of a mint mark. And this is where real collectors separate themselves from casual coin holders, because they know exactly what to look for. They know that a 1985 penny with strong doubling on the word liberty, or "In God We Trust," is not common. They know that a broad strike with missing rims tells a story of mechanical failure at the mint. They know that a wrong planchette strike is one of the holy grails of modern cents, and they know that condition is king, because a flawless red uncirculated 1975 penny can command prices that shock beginners and excite seasoned numismatists alike. This is the era when pennies were still solid copper, not the zinc core we see later, which already gives the coin intrinsic metal appeal and weight differences that experts can instantly feel in their hands. And if you think the mint made everything perfectly that year, think again, because 1975 was a high-pressure production year, and errors slipped through unnoticed, sealed into rolls, shipped nationwide, and spent without mercy. Some survived sharp, clean, untouched, and today they are locked away in slabs, vaults, and collections, while others are still hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to recognize their power, their rarity, and their value. Coin lovers, today we are diving into one of the most searched, most talked about, and most misunderstood coins in American history, the 1976 Lincoln 1 cent penny, a coin that millions of people have in jars, drawers, piggy banks, and old collections. But very few truly understand the hidden value that might be sitting right in front of them. This is not just another penny. This is a piece of American history, minted during one of the most patriotic years the United States ever experienced, the Bicentennial year 1976, a time when the nation celebrated 200 years of independence and pride. And while everyone talks about the special quarters and half dollars from that year, almost nobody realizes that certain 1976 Lincoln pennies can be worth far more than 1 cent. And today, we are going deep into everything you need to know, from rare errors to high-grade values to secret varieties that collectors are hunting right now. So grab your coins, grab a magnifying glass, and stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might look at your pocket change in a completely different way. The year 1976 was electric across America. Flags were everywhere, celebrations filled cities, and the U.S. Mint was producing coins around the clock to meet demand. Billions of pennies were struck that year at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia coins do not carry a mint mark, while the Denver coins show a small D under the date. And because so many were made, most people assume they are all common and worthless. But that assumption is where opportunity begins. Let us start with the basics. The 1976 Lincoln penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the words "In God We Trust" across the top, Liberty to the left, and the date 1976 to the right. On the back, you see the Lincoln Memorial, which had been used since 1959. This design remained until 2008, making it one of the longest-running reverse designs in American coin history. Now, here's where things get interesting. Even though billions were minted, condition is everything in coin. Collecting a 1976 penny pulled from circulation with heavy wear, scratches, and discoloration is usually worth face value. But a coin that was saved in uncirculated condition, especially one graded mint state 65 or higher, can command significantly higher prices in the collector. Market mint state coins are graded on a 70-point scale, and the difference between a 63 and a 67 can mean the difference between a few dollars and hundreds of dollars. High-grade red examples with full original luster are especially desirable because copper coins are prone to spotting, toning, and fading over time. Finding a bright red example after decades is not easy now. Let us talk about errors, because this is where the real excitement begins. Collectors love mint errors because they are mistakes that slipped past quality control and entered circulation. And some 1976 Lincoln pennies have fascinating error varieties. One of the most valuable errors to look for is the doubled die obverse. This occurs when the coin die receives a doubled image during the hubbing process, resulting in visible doubling on the letters or date. Strong examples can show noticeable doubling on "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the numbers in the date, and depending on the strength and condition, these can sell for hundreds of dollars. Another major error is the off-center strike. When a coin is not properly aligned in the press part of the design, may be missing, and blank space appears on one side if the date is still visible. These off-center coins are highly collectible, and values increase based on how dramatic the misalignment is clipped. Planchettes are another exciting find. This happens when the metal strip used to create blanks is improperly punched, leaving a curved, missing section on the coin. These are legitimate mint errors, and collectors actively seek them. You should also look for broad strike errors, where the coin was struck without the retaining collar, causing it to expand beyond its normal size. These can look slightly larger and flatter than regular pennies. Then there are die cracks and cuds, raised lines, or blobs of metal caused by cracks in the die. Some large cud errors on 1976 pennies have sold for impressive premiums because they are dramatic and easily visible. Now let us talk numbers, because that is what everyone wants to know. How much is a 1976 Lincoln penny really worth in circulated condition? Most examples are worth 1 cent to a few cents in uncirculated condition. Typical mint state 63 to 64 coins may sell for $5 to $15, depending on color designation. Red brown or red butt, once you reach mint state 66 or higher, the value can jump dramatically. Some certified red examples, state 67, have sold for several $100s at auction, and when you add a strong error to the mix, the price can climb even higher. The Denver Mint also produced high-quality strikes in 1976, and high-grade Denver coins can carry strong premiums, especially in full red condition. Collectors building registry sets compete for the finest graded examples, and that competition drives prices up. Here is something many people overlook: proof coins. While there was no special Bicentennial design for the penny in 1976, the San Francisco Mint did produce proof sets, and proof Lincoln cents from that era can be found with deep cameo contrast. These mirror-like coins were made for collectors, and high-grade, deep cameo examples are also valuable, especially if perfectly preserved. When searching your change or old collections, pay close attention to color. Copper coins are classified as brown. Red-brown or red full red coins retain at least 90% of their original mint red color, and those are the most valuable. Spotting, corrosion, or fingerprints can significantly reduce value, so handle coins carefully by the edge of storage is critical if you believe you have a high-grade example. Consider placing it in a protective holder and avoid cleaning it. Cleaning almost always reduces value because it damages the original surface. Collectors prefer natural surfaces, even if slightly toned. You might be wondering how to tell if your penny is truly valuable. The best approach is careful examination under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass to inspect lettering for doubling. Check the rim for errors. Examine the surface for unusual features. Compare your coin to verified examples online, and if you suspect a major error, consider submitting it to a professional grading service for authentication. Coin collecting is not just about money, it is about history. The 1976 penny represents a year of national celebration. It circulated in the pockets of Americans during parades, fireworks, and patriotic events. Every scratch tells a story. Every preserved red gem represents someone who saved a small piece of history. And here is the exciting part. Millions of these coins still exist in circulation, which means treasure could literally be sitting in your home right now, hidden in a jar or tucked away in an old coin album. While most are common, the rare high-grade survivors and genuine mint errors are the prizes collectors chase. Imagine finding a bright red mint state example worth hundreds of dollars. Imagine discovering a dramatic off-center strike that collectors compete for. This is why searching pennies remains one of the most accessible and thrilling parts of coin collecting. You do not need expensive equipment, you just need patience, knowledge, and a careful eye. As we continue exploring rare American coins on this channel, remember that even the most ordinary-looking cent can have extraordinary potential. The 1976 Lincoln penny may not have flashy special designs like the bicentennial quarter, but its hidden varieties and condition rarities make it a sleeper coin that serious collectors respect. Before you spend another penny, a closer look. Check the date, check the mint mark, inspect the details, because that small copper coin could be more than spare change. It could be a valuable piece of American history waiting to be discovered. Coin hunters, treasure seekers, history lovers, and anyone who dreams that a tiny forgotten 1-cent coin sitting in a dusty jar could secretly be worth serious money today. We are diving deep into one of the most talked about, most misunderstood, and most searched coins in America, the 1-cent Lincoln penny from the year 1977, a coin that millions of people have held in their hands without realizing what they might have been holding. This is not a joke, this is not clickbait, and this is not a fantasy. This is the real story of the 1977 Lincoln penny. Why collectors care, why some examples are rare, why certain errors are worth big money, and how an everyday coin from pocket change can turn into a collector's dream. If you stay with me through this full video, you will never look at a penny the same way again. Imagine walking into a grocery store in the late 1970s, the sound of a cash register, the smell of paper bags, the feel of copper coins in your pocket. America was changing, gas prices were rising, music was evolving, and in the middle of all that, the United States Mint was striking millions upon millions of Lincoln pennies in 1977. These coins were not meant to be special, they were made for daily use, for buying candy, newspapers, and coffee. Yet today, decades later, collectors search through rolls, boxes, and old collections, hoping to find that one special 1977 penny that stands out from the rest. Lincoln penny design itself already carries powerful history. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, a symbol of unity, strength, and freedom, has appeared on the 1-cent coin since 1909, when the wheat penny was first introduced by Victor David Brenner by 1977. The design had already transitioned to the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a tribute to one of the most iconic monuments in Washington, D.C., and a reminder that every small coin carries a piece of American history. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1977 Lincoln penny so interesting at first glance. It looks ordinary, copper-colored, small, lightweight, and familiar, but collectors know that value is not just about age, it is about condition, rarity, mint marks, and most importantly, errors and variations. In 1970, 7 pennies were struck at multiple mints, including Philadelphia and Denver, and each mint produced coins with slightly different characteristics. 1970. 7 pennies are worth only face value 1 cent if they are heavily circulated, scratched, worn, or damaged. But this is where the story gets exciting, because some 1977 pennies were struck with errors that make them highly desirable to collectors. These errors happen during the minting process, when something went wrong, a misalignment, a doubled impression, or an incorrect planchette, and when these mistakes slipped past quality control, they entered circulation and became rare treasures hiding in plain sight. Of the most famous and valuable errors for the 1970s. 7 Lincoln penny is the doubled die obverse. This is when the design on the front of the coin, especially the date and the word liberty, appears doubled as if there is a shadow or echo. This doubling is not damage. It is not wear. It is a true mint error created when the die itself was misaligned. During hubbing, collectors pay close attention to the numbers in 1977 and the letters in liberty, because strong, clear doubling can mean the difference between 1 cent and hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The hundreds of dollars are important factor is condition. Collectors use a grading scale that ranges from poor to mint state. A 1977 penny that has never been circulated, that still has full original luster, sharp details, and no wear can be worth significantly more than one that has been used for decades. Coins graded mint state, 65 or higher, are especially desirable, and when combined with rare errors, their value can skyrocket. There is also the matter of composition. 1977 pennies were made primarily of copper with a small amount of zinc, giving them a solid feel and a warm tone. Unlike modern pennies, which are mostly zinc with a thin copper coating, this difference makes older pennies more appealing to collectors and sometimes even to metal enthusiast. People often ask, can a 1977 penny really be valuable? The answer is yes, but only if it has the right characteristics. This is why searching through old jars, piggy banks, and inherited collections can be so exciting. Every coin is a mystery, every penny has a story, and you never know when you might find something extraordinary. Over the years, collectors have reported finding 1977 pennies with off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, broad strikes where the coin spreads out wider than normal, and even wrong planchette errors where the penny was struck on a blank meant for a different coin. These errors are rare, but they exist, and when verified by professional grading services, they can command strong prices at auction. Thrill of coin collecting is not just about money, it is about discovery, patience, and knowledge, learning how to spot the difference between a common coin and a rare one. Takes time, experience, and a sharp eye. This is why videos like this matter, because they open your eyes to possibilities hiding in everyday life. If you are serious about searching for valuable 1977 pennies, you should use a magnifying glass, good lighting, and compare your coin to verified examples. Pay close attention to the date, the letters, the mint mark, and the overall strike quality. Never clean your coins, because cleaning can destroy value. Instead, keep them safe and consider professional grading if you believe you have found something. 1977 Lincoln penny represents more than just copper and zinc. It represents a moment in American history, a bridge between past and present, and a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry hidden value. This is only the beginning of the story, because there is still so much more to uncover about rare varieties, auction records, collector tips, real-life finds, and how ordinary people have turned pennies into profit. What if I told you that a simple 1979 Lincoln penny sitting in your pocket, right now, could be worth far more than 1 cent? What if that tiny copper coin hiding in your change jar could actually be a collector's treasure that thousands of people across America are searching for every single day? Today, we are diving deep into one of the most wanted USA old coins, the valuable 1979 Lincoln penny. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to look for, how to spot rare varieties, and how much these coins are really selling for in today's market. So grab your coin jar, grab your magnifying glass, and get ready, because this might be the most important penny hunt of your life. Here is your killer intro and long YouTube script in US English, with no dots and no lines and no bullet points, exactly as you asked Kiala Lear, Ian Tiaro. What if I told you that a simple 1979 Lincoln penny sitting in your pocket right now could be worth far more than 1 cent? What if that tiny copper coin hiding in your change jar could actually be a collector's treasure that thousands of people across America are searching for every single day today? We are diving deep into one of the most wanted USA old coins, the valuable 1979 Lincoln penny. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to look for, how to spot rare varieties, and how much these coins are really selling for in today's market. So grab your coin jar, grab your magnifying glass, and get ready, because this might be the most important penny hunt of your life. Fuel, long form CRIPT, the 1979 Lincoln penny. Might seem like just another common coin, but serious collectors know that certain versions of this coin can be surprisingly valuable. 1979 was an interesting year in American history. Inflation was high, the economy was changing, and the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies for circulation. Most people spent them without thinking twice, but hidden among those billions are rare errors, high grade examples, and special varieties that are now highly desired. A verse of the 1979 Lincoln penny features Abraham Lincoln facing right with the word liberty to the left, the date 1979 on the right, and in God we trust across the top. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial with the United States of America across the top and 1 cent at the bottom. This design was used from 1959 to 2008, which means at first glance, the 1979 looks like many other pennies, but the details make all the difference. In 1979, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 3 billion pennies. The Denver Mint also produced billions, and the San Francisco Mint struck proof coins for collectors. With such high mintage numbers, you might think these coins are worthless, but condition, rarity, and mint errors change everything. Let us talk about mint marks. A 1979 penny with no mint mark was struck in Philadelphia. A 1979 D penny was struck in Denver. A 1979 S penny was struck in San Francisco and usually appears as a proof coin. Proof coins have mirror-like surfaces and sharp details, and they were not meant for circulation, but sometimes they end up in pocket change. Now let us talk value in circulated condition. Most 1979 pennies are worth face value, which is 1 cent. However, in uncirculated condition, especially grades like MS65 and higher values, increase dramatically. A 1979 penny graded MS67 can sell for hundreds of dollars. Because finding one in near-perfect condition is extremely difficult, the real excitement comes from error coins. Error coins happen when something goes wrong during the minting process. These mistakes can create unique coins that collectors are willing to pay serious money for. One of the most popular errors is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin has a doubling in the design. You may see doubling in the date, the word liberty, or in God we trust. True doubled die coins are rare and can be worth hundreds or even thousands depending on strength and condition. Another valuable error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned during striking, resulting in part of the design missing. If the date is still visible and the strike is dramatically off-center, the coin can be worth a significant premium. Clipped planchettes are another collectible error. These coins are missing a portion of the edge because the blank was improperly cut before striking. Collectors love dramatic clips, especially when they are large and clearly visible. There are also broad strike errors where the coin was struck without the collar, causing it to spread out and appear wider than normal. These can also bring strong prices. Transitional errors are extremely rare, but always worth mentioning. Although 1979 pennies were still primarily copper coins at 95% copper. The early 1980s brought a change to zinc composition. Any coin struck on the wrong metal planchette would be considered a major rarity. If such an error exists from 1979, it would be extremely valuable. Now let us discuss grading, because condition is everything. A coin with no wear, strong luster, and minimal marks is far more valuable than one that has been heavily circulated. Professional grading companies use a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. Coins graded MS65 or higher are considered gem quality, and prices jump significantly at MS67 and above. Fifth, you think you have a high-grade 1979 penny. It may be worth sending to a professional grading service. The cost of grading can be justified. If the coin is truly exceptional, collectors also search for red copper examples. Over time, copper coins turn brown due to oxidation. A bright red, uncirculated 1979 penny is much more desirable. Then a brown one. Coins are labeled as red, red-brown, or brown, and the red designation commands the highest prices. Let us imagine you find a 1979 penny in your change jar. The first step is to check the mint mark. The second step is to inspect for errors using a magnifying glass. Look closely at the date and lettering for doubling. Examine the edges for clips. Check alignment to see if it is off-center. Finally, evaluate the color and luster. Some high-grade 1979 pennies have sold at auction for several $100s, and dramatic era coins have reached even higher prices, while most examples are common. The thrill is in the hunt, because you never know what might appear in circulation. The 1979 S-proof penny is another interesting piece. Proof coins were made for collectors and feature mirror-like fields. If you find a deep cameo proof with strong contrast between the frosted design and mirrored background, it can bring strong premiums, especially in perfect PR70. Collecting is not just about money, it is about history. Each 1979 penny represents a small piece of American heritage. It passed through countless hands. It may have been used in stores, gas stations, or vending machines, and now it could become part of a collection. Many collectors build complete Lincoln Memorial penny sets, and high-grade 1979 coins are essential for those sets. Registry set collectors compete for the highest graded examples, which drives prices higher for top population coins. You are serious about searching? Start by getting coin rolls from banks. Roll hunting is one of the best ways to search large quantities of pennies. Look for uncirculated rolls. Original bank-wrapped rolls and estate collections always handle coins by the edges to avoid fingerprints. Never clean your coins. Cleaning can destroy value instantly, even if the coin looks dirty. Natural surfaces are preferred by collectors. Storage is also important. Use coin flips holders or albums to protect your finds. Keep them in a dry environment to prevent corrosion. The 1979 Lincoln penny might not seem special at first glance, but hidden gems exist, and collectors across the country continue to search for the finest examples every year. Auction records remind us that even modern coins can become valuable when condition, rarity, and demand align. So, before you ignore that penny in your pocket, take a second look. Check the date, check the mint mark, inspect for errors, and evaluate the condition, because that small copper coin could be worth far more than you think. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the 1979 Lincoln penny is proof that even the most ordinary coin can become extraordinary with the right combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. I am not joking. This is not a myth, this is not clickbait, and this is not one of those stories people repeat without proof. This is the real history, the real hunt, and the real money behind the most wanted 1-cent coin ever made in the United States. The 1943 wheat steel penny, a coin that looks small, feels light, and sounds simple, but has created more shock, more confusion, more dreams, and more million-dollar moments than almost any other penny in American history. Collectors argue over it, families fight over jars of coins, people search basements, garages, old piggy banks, and inherited collections, because one ordinary-looking penny from 1943 has the power to change a life overnight. During World War II, the United States needed copper for bullets, shell casings, and military equipment, so the Mint made a radical decision and switched the penny from copper to zinc-coated steel for one single year. And that decision created one of the greatest mistakes and mysteries in us coin history, because while billions of steel pennies were struck, a tiny number of copper pennies were accidentally made in 1943, and those mistakes became some of the most valuable coins on earth, selling for hundreds of thousands, and even millions of dollars. And the steel version itself, which most people ignore, can still be valuable depending on condition, mint, mark, and rare errors. And today, we are diving deep into the truth, the hype, the real prices, the secret varieties, the testing methods, the myths, the scams, and the real reason why the 1943 wheat steel penny still dominates the coin world. More than 80 years later, imagine a worker at the Mint feeding copper blanks into a press by accident. Imagine a single moment that creates a legend. Imagine a coin slipping into circulation unnoticed, passing from hand to hand through wartime. America buying bread, candy, newspapers, and stamps, never knowing it would one day be worth more than a house. That is the magic of the 1943 penny, and that is why this coin is hunted more than any other 1-cent piece in U.S. history. But here is the twist: most people think all 1943 pennies are valuable, and that is not true. Most steel cents are worth only a few cents to a few dollars. Yet a small group of them are extremely valuable, and a microscopic number are worth a fortune, and the difference between common and life changing comes down to details. Most people never check details. Most people overlook details that could mean the difference between a worthless coin and a 6-figure payday. The steel penny has a unique sound, a unique weight, and a unique look. It sticks to a magnet, it rusts if damaged, and it shines differently under light. And those simple traits have fooled millions of people into thinking they have treasure, when they do not, and have caused others to spend them unknowingly when they did. And that is why education is everything. When it comes to this coin, the 1943 wheat steel penny was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco with mint marks that change everything. The Denver Mint produced fewer coins than Philadelphia and high. Great examples from Denver are much harder to find. San Francisco coins are also tougher in top condition and command higher prices when fully original, with strong details and no corrosion. Condition is king with steel cents because rust destroys value faster than almost any other flaw. A bright, clean, original steel, sent with no spots, no pitting, and no replating, can be worth many times more than a damaged example. And then there are the errors doubled. Dies off metal strikes, missing mint marks, and transitional planchet errors that push values into the thousands, even for steel examples. And collectors pay huge premiums for certified coins, graded by professional services, because steel pennies were heavily altered after release. Many were replated, polished, painted, or cleaned, destroying their originality and making certification critical. The Holy Grail, however, is the 1943 copper penny, a coin that should not exist yet does exist. Confirmed examples from Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco are known, and each one is a headline every time it sells. One sold for over $1 million and another traded privately for even more. And these coins do not stick to a magnet, way more than steel, and have the classic copper color of earlier wheat cents. But beware, because thousands of fakes exist. Copper-plated steel cents, altered dates, and outright counterfeits flood the market, and only professional testing can confirm authenticity. Weight, magnetism, composition, and microscopic die markers are used to separate legends from lies, and this is why so many people believe they have a fortune when they do not, while others dismiss real treasure as fake. And the 1943 steel penny continues to confuse, excite, and dominate conversations generation after generation, because it represents hope, it represents chance, and it represents the idea that something small and overlooked can be priceless. And as long as people collect coins, this penny will never lose its power. No. Let's slow the story down and really understand why the 1943 wheat steel penny became such a monster in the coin world, and why even today, people cannot stop talking about it. During wartime, America daily life was tense. Ration cards, shortages, long factory hours, and constant news from overseas. And in the middle of that pressure, the United States Mint made billions of steel cents, quickly, cheaply, and without any thought that collectors decades later would obsess over every tiny detail. These pennies were never meant to last. Steel rusts, steel corrodes, steel reacts to moisture and fingerprints, and because of that, survival itself became a form of rarity. Millions were destroyed by rust, buried, forgotten, melted, discarded, or simply thrown away. When people noticed they were ugly, discolored, or strange-looking, kids hated them. Vending machines rejected them, and store owners complained about them because they stuck together and jammed registers. And because of that, many were removed from circulation early, making high-quality survivors incredibly difficult to find today, especially coins that still show full mint luster, smooth surfaces, and sharp wheat lines. Collectors chase those traits relentlessly because they tell a story of preservation against odds. And when a steel cent shows mirror-like shine without replating it, stops people in their tracks and opens wallets instantly. And then there is the psychology of this coin. People love mistakes. People love the idea that something went wrong and created treasure. The 1943 penny feeds that desire perfectly because it represents an error born from chaos, war, urgency, and human oversight, and that is why people still search. Rolls of pennies 80 years later, even though the odds are microscopic because the reward is legendary, and that hope fuels entire YouTube channels. Flea market hunts, garage sale searches, estate sale raids, and coin roll videos, and every time someone posts a photo claiming they found a copper 1943 penny, the internet explodes with excitement, skepticism, disbelief, and debate, and most of those claims fall apart under basic tests like magnet checks and weight measurement. Yet the legend survives because a few real ones are confirmed and documented and graded and locked in collections and museums, proving that miracles can happen, and that is enough to keep the dream alive. But let us talk about value realistically, because hype without truth leads to disappointment. A common circulated 1943 steel penny with corrosion stains or dark spots may only be worth a few cents, maybe $1. At best, uncirculated examples with full luster can reach $10, $20, $30 depending on eye appeal, and mint mark high-grade certified examples can reach hundreds and in rare cases thousands, especially from San Francisco or Denver, with sharp strikes and no surface issues. And then error coins. Change everything: off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, double strikes, grease-filled dies, and repunched mint marks. All add layers of desirability, and collectors pay aggressively for unique combinations because steel cents are difficult to find. Problem-free and errors increase rarity dramatically. And then we reach the forbidden zone, the copper strikes, the transitional errors. The coins that should not exist. These are not pocket change finds. These are lottery wins, and when one surfaces, it is front-page news in the numismatic world. Auction houses compete. Collectors whisper, dealers investigate, and grading services lock down security because values reach levels most people cannot imagine for a penny. And this is where scammers thrive, altering dates from 1945 to 1943, copper plating, steel cents, or even gluing copper shells over steel cores to fool beginners. And that is why education is protection. Knowing how to test weight, magnetism, thickness, and edge color saves people from heartbreak and protects real finds from being dismissed. And every serious collector remembers the first time they held a steel penny, felt its light weight, heard its different sound, and realized history was sitting in their hand. And that emotional connection is powerful because this coin is not just metal, it is a time capsule from World War II. It is industrial America. In your palm, it is sacrifice, rationing, and urgency, frozen in zinc-coated steel, and that story alone gives it value beyond price guides and charts. And when you explain this to viewers, when you slow it down and let them feel the era, the pressure, the mistake, the survival, suddenly they are not watching a coin video anymore. They are watching history breathe, and that is why this penny dominates watch time, retention, and comments. Because everyone has a penny jar. Everyone dreams of hidden value. Imagine holding a single 1-cent coin in your hand. A coin so small, so ordinary looking, yet capable of changing a life forever. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most shocking and misunderstood treasures in American coin history, the 1950 wheat penny, a coin most people ignore, toss in jars, or spend without a second thought. But collectors, no better, serious collectors, hunt this coin like buried treasure. Because some versions of the 1950 wheat penny are worth hundreds, thousands, and in rare cases, even more. This is not hype. This is real, documented collector demand. And in this video, you are going to learn exactly why the 1950 wheat penny is one of the most wanted USA old coins ever made. A simple mistake at the mint created rare varieties, and why right now could be the best time in history to search your old pennies. Closely stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never look at a wheat penny the same way again. The 1950 wheat penny was born in a powerful moment in American history. America was rising after World War II. Industries were booming, families were rebuilding, and the U.S. Mint was striking millions of coins to fuel a growing economy. The wheat penny, design featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 wheat stalks on the back, had already been around for decades. But 1950 marked a turning point, because this year quietly produced some of the most collectible and mysterious 1-cent coins ever released into circulation. Most people do not realize This, but not all 1950 wheat pennies are the same. Some were struck in Philadelphia, some in Denver, and each mint created coins with unique characteristics that today separate common pocket change from collector gold. And this is where the story gets exciting: the 1950 Denver wheat penny, also known as the 1950 D penny. Penny became famous almost overnight because collectors realized something shocking: the mintage numbers were lower than expected. And rumors spread fast. People began hoarding rolls straight from banks. Believing this coin would be the next big rarity, this mass hoarding actually changed the future of the coin, forever making original circulated examples harder to find decades later, especially in higher condition. And condition is everything in the coin world. A worn flat penny might be worth only a small amount, but a sharp, well-preserved 1950 wheat penny with full details, original luster, and no damage can explode in value, especially if it has rare errors or varieties. And yes, errors are where the real money lives. Some 1950 wheat pennies were struck with off-center designs, doubled lettering, weak strikes, and even wrong planchette errors that turn a 1-cent coin into a 4-figure or 5-figure collectible. These are not myths. These are auction-verified facts, and the scary part is many of these coins are still out there hiding in old collections, jars, drawers, and inherited boxes, because most people do not know what to look for. This video exists to change that. Let us talk about why collectors are obsessed with wheat pennies in general. Wheat pennies represent a golden age of American coinage: solid copper, rich history, and designs that feel alive. Compared to modern coins, the 1950 wheat penny is especially important because it sits at the edge of the end of the wheat series. Only a few years later, the design would change forever, making 1951 of the last chapters of a legendary era. And collectors love end-of-era coins because they symbolize transition, rarity, and nostalgia. Add to that the copper content, and suddenly you have a coin that appeals to historians, investors, and everyday treasure hunters alike. Now here's something: most videos never tell you the value of a 1950 wheat penny is not fixed. It changes based on tiny details: mint mark, condition, color, strike quality, and errors. A brown circulated example might be common, but a red uncirculated example with blazing copper color can be worth many times more. And if you find a 1950 D wheat penny with strong details and minimal marks, you are holding a coin collector's fight over. This is why professional grading matters. Graded examples in high mint state holders have sold for shocking prices, and every year fewer high-grade examples exist because copper corrodes, gets cleaned or damaged over time, meaning supply keeps shrinking while demand keeps growing. And demand is global. Collectors from all over the world hunt USA wheat pennies because of their history, beauty, and investment potential. And the 1950 issue sits right in the sweet spot: affordable enough to hunt, but rare enough to be exciting. And this is exactly why you should not skip this video, because later we are going to break down how to check your coins step by step, what magnification to use, where to look for mint marks, how to spot fake cleaning, how to identify real mint luster, and how to recognize errors that most people miss. Completely imagine finding a penny you almost spent and realizing it could pay bills, fund a collection, or become a family heirloom. That is not fantasy. It happens more often than you think. And the 1950 wheat penny is one of the top coins where these stories begin. So if you have ever wondered whether old pennies are worth keeping, if you have ever inherited coins, or if you just love the thrill of hidden treasure, then you are in the right place. Stay tuned, because this is only the beginning. And what comes next will open your eyes to values, varieties, and secrets most collectors never talk about. Imagine opening an old drawer, touching a handful of dusty copper coins, and without even knowing it, you are holding a piece of American history that could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Today, this is not a joke, this is not clickbait, and this is not a story from a movie. This is the real story of the 1951 1-cent wheat penny, a coin that millions of people have seen, but very few truly understand. And today, you are about to learn why collectors across the United States and around the world are still hunting this penny with serious money in their hands. The 1951 wheat penny was born in a time when America was changing fast. The post-war economy was booming, families were growing, and pocket change moved through millions of hands every single day. These pennies bought candy, soda, newspapers, and bus rides, and because they were used so heavily, most people never thought twice about them. But hidden inside This everyday coin are rare details, mint marks, and mistakes that turned ordinary cents into legendary treasures. The wheat penny design itself already holds massive historical value, with Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 wheat ears on the back, symbolizing prosperity, strength, and the American spirit. By 1951, the wheat penny had already become a familiar sight. Yet that year produced some of the most interesting and valuable varieties collectors chase today. The Philadelphia Mint struck millions of 1951 pennies with no mint mark, and while most are common, some survive in extremely high condition with blazing red copper surfaces and sharp details. These coins can sell for impressive prices, especially when professionally graded. Then there is the Denver Mint 1951 D wheat penny, which is where things start to get exciting because many Denver coins were struck with weaker details, making perfectly struck examples far rarer than people realize. Collectors pay strong premiums for clean, sharp Denver pieces, and if you ever find one with full wheat, lined strong lettering, and original red color, you could be looking at a serious payday. And we are just getting started because the San Francisco Mint produced the 1951 S wheat penny, and this coin is one of the most searched pennies in circulation. Today, known for strike issues and lower quality copper, many examples were worn down quickly, which means high-grade survivors are extremely rare and highly valuable. Collectors fight over top condition 1951 S pennies, and prices climb fast when one appears at auction, but the real magic of the 1951 wheat penny lies in errors and varieties. Coins that slipped through the mint with mistakes that make them unique: off-center strikes, doubled dies, clipped planchettes, and die cracks turn a simple penny into a one-of-a-kind collectible. Imagine finding a 1951 wheat penny where the letters appear doubled or the coin is missing part of its edge. These are not damaged coins, these are mint errors, and collectors pay huge money for them because no two are exactly alike. Even small errors can sell for hundreds of dollars, and dramatic ones can reach into the thousands depending on condition and rarity. This is why people across America are checking jars, rolls, and old collections right now, hoping to discover a 1951 wheat penny hiding in plain sight. And the best part is many of these coins are still out there waiting to be found because millions were saved, forgotten, and passed down through families without anyone knowing their truth value. And in the next part, we will dive deep into exact values, condition grading, how to spot rare red copper examples, and the specific errors that bring the biggest money. So stay ready, say continue, and we will keep going. Let us go deeper into the world of the 1951 1-cent wheat penny, because this is where casual viewers turn into serious collectors and where ordinary people realize they may already own something far more valuable than they ever imagined. The value of a wheat penny is not decided by age alone, it is decided by condition, color, mint, mark, and rarity, and the 1951 wheat penny checks all the boxes when examined closely. Collectors use grading terms like good, very fine, extremely fine, and mint state, and this is critical, because the difference between a worn brown penny and a sharp red one can be the difference between a few cents and several $1,000s. A 1951 wheat penny that is circulated heavily will usually appear dark brown with smooth details, and while it still holds historical value, its market value remains low. But once you move into higher grades, everything changes. A lightly circulated example with visible wheat lines and strong lettering can already attract collector interest, and when you reach uncirculated mint state condition, the prices rise fast, especially for coins that retain their original red copper color. Red pennies are the holy grail for collectors because copper naturally darkens over time, so a red 1951 wheat penny means it was preserved almost perfectly for more than 70 years, and that is rare. Now let us talk real numbers, because this is what people really want to know. A common 1951 wheat penny in average circulated condition may only be worth a small amount, but a mint state example, graded by a professional service, can sell for hundreds and, in some cases, more than $1,000, depending on color and strike quality. The 1951 D wheat penny in top grade has sold for even more because sharp Denver strikes are difficult to find, and collectors compete aggressively for them. The 1951 S wheat penny is another story altogether. Because high-grade examples are extremely scarce, And when a fully red mint state example appears, it creates serious excitement in the numismatic world. Auctions heat up, bidding wars begin, and prices climb fast. This is why experienced collectors always say, check the date, check the mint mark, and check the condition before you ever dismiss a penny as common. And now we enter the most thrilling part of the story: mint errors, the mistakes that turn an already collectible coin into a legendary one. A doubled die, 1951. Wheat penny will show clear doubling on letters like "Liberty in God We Trust" or the date itself, and this doubling is not damage. It happened during the minting process, making it highly desirable. Off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing but still visible, are another major prize. The more dramatic the offset, the higher the value, especially if the date is fully visible. Clipped planchettes, where part of the coin is missing due to a cutting error, are also extremely popular, and die cracks and cut errors where raised metal appears due to damaged dies add even more excitement. These coins are like fingerprints. No two are exactly alike, and collectors love that uniqueness. And here is something most people do not realize. Many valuable wheat pennies were never intentionally saved. They survived by accident. They sat in jars, drawers, piggy banks, and coffee cans for decades untouched. This means there is still a chance right now that someone watching this video has a 1951 wheat penny worth serious money and does not even know it yet. This is why coin roll hunting, searching through rolls of pennies from banks, has become so popular, because every roll carries the possibility of a hidden treasure. And even if you do not find a rare error, the thrill of the hunt keeps people coming back again and again. And in the next part, we will explore how to properly examine your 1951 wheat penny, what tools you need, how to avoid common mistakes, and how to safely store and sell your coin for maximum value. So stay with me, continue, and we keep uncovering the secrets of this legendary penny. Most wanted USA old coins, valuable 1-cent wheat penny. 1952, this is not a joke, this is not clickbait, and this is not another normal coin video. This is the real hidden history of a small copper penny that millions of people have touched, spent, lost, ignored, and thrown away without ever knowing what it could truly be worth today. Imagine holding a single 1-cent wheat penny from 1952 in your hand, something that looks ordinary, something that feels common, yet behind that small coin is a story of American history, post-war economy, rare mint errors, secret varieties, and collector demand that has turned some of these pennies into highly valuable treasures worth hundreds, thousands, and in extreme cases even more. This video is for collectors, beginners, treasure hunters, and everyday people who want to know the truth about the 1952 wheat penny, because somewhere right now one of these coins could be sitting in a jar, drawer, wallet, or old box waiting to be discovered. Person holding it may have no idea what they have. The 1952 wheat penny was minted during a powerful moment in American history. The United States was coming out of World War II, the economy was changing, inflation was rising, and the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins to keep up with everyday commerce. Wheat pennies had already been in circulation for over 4 decades, featuring the iconic Abraham Lincoln portrait on the front and the classic wheat ears on the back, a design loved by collectors today and missed by many who remember. When money was made of real copper in 1952, the penny was still composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it real metal value, weight, and a feel that modern pennies simply do not have. That alone makes the 1952 wheat penny special, but the real magic is hidden deeper in mint marks, condition, rarity, and errors that most people never check. There were 3 main mints producing wheat pennies in 1952: the Philadelphia Mint, which used no mint mark, the Denver Mint, marked with a small d, and the San Francisco Mint, marked with a small s. Each mint produced different quantities, and that matters greatly when it comes to value, because rarity plus demand equals price. And collectors are always hunting the best examples, especially those in high-grade, uncirculated condition or with rare mint errors. Many people think all old pennies are worth money, but the truth is very specific. A worn 1952 wheat penny may only be worth a few cents, while a sharp, bright red, uncirculated example can be worth many dollars, and if that coin has a rare error, the value can jump dramatically some. 1952 wheat pennies have been found with doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, weak strikes, and repunched mint marks. These are not damage. They are mint errors created during production, and collectors pay serious money for them, the most valuable. 1952 wheat pennies are those graded by professional grading services with high mint state ratings because condition is everything. A difference between mint state 63 and mint state 67 can mean the difference between $20 and thousands of dollars. This is why people are searching through old collections, estate sales, coin rolls, and family inheritances, hoping to find that one special penny that changes everything and the story. Does not stop there, because the 1952 wheat penny is also part of the final era of wheat cents production. Only a few years later, in 1958, the design would end, making these coins a symbol of a lost era of American money. When coins had weight history and craftsmanship, collectors today are obsessed with wheat pennies, and the 1952 issue is one of the most searched dates, because it is old enough to matter, common enough to be found, and rare enough in top condition to be valuable, which creates the perfect storm for treasure hunting. And as this video continues, we are going to break down exact values by mint mark, the rarest known errors, how to identify them with your own eyes, how condition affects price, and real auction results that prove these pennies are not just pocket change anymore. So stay with me, because what you are about to learn could completely change the way you look at every penny you see from this day forward as we move deeper into the world of the 1952 wheat penny. It becomes clear that not all pennies from this year are created equal. And this is where many people get confused, because they assume age alone determines value. But collectors know better. Value comes from a mix of mint, mark, condition, strike, quality, and rarity. And the 1952 wheat penny checks all the right boxes when you know what to look for, starting with the 1952 Philadelphia wheat penny. This coin carries no mint mark below the date and was produced in extremely high numbers with hundreds of millions struck, making it common in circulated condition. However, common does not mean worthless, because even Philadelphia pennies from 1952 can become valuable when preserved in high grade, especially those that still show full original luster, bright red color, and sharp details on Lincoln hair wheat lines and lettering. A 1952 number mint mark penny in worn condition may only be worth a few cents, but in mint state red condition, collectors can pay strong money, especially when certified. This is why checking condition is everything. Even the smallest difference in wear can dramatically change value. Next comes the 1952 D wheat penny, struck at the Denver Mint, and this is where things get more interesting. The Denver Mint produced fewer pennies than Philadelphia, making the 1952 D more desirable, especially in high grades. Many 1952 D pennies were heavily circulated, meaning fewer survive today in top condition, which drives up collector demand. A sharply struck 1952 D wheat penny with full wheat lines and clean surfaces can sell for impressive amounts, and when graded mint state 65 or higher, prices can climb fast. Collectors love Denver Mint coins because they often show strong detail but are harder to find in pristine condition. And then there is the 1952 S wheat penny from the San Francisco Mint. These are famous for weaker strikes and lower production numbers, making high-grade examples extremely rare. The 1952 S is one of the most challenging wheat pennies to find in true gem condition because many were poorly struck and circulated heavily at the time. A fully struck 1952 S with sharp details is a major prize in the wheat penny world, and values reflect that rarity. Some certified examples have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars, depending on grade and eye appeal. And this is where serious collectors start paying attention, but mint marks are only part of the story, because errors are where the real excitement lives, and the 1952 wheat penny is known for several collectible error types that can turn an ordinary coin into a major find. Doubled die errors are among the most valuable, and these occur when the die used to strike the coin was misaligned, creating a doubling effect on letters, numbers, or design elements. On some 1952 wheat pennies you can see doubling on the date, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." These are not blurry or damaged, they are clear doubled images, and collectors will pay big money for authentic doubled die. Examples: another major error type is off-center strikes, where the coin design is not centered. On the planchettes from 1952, wheat pennies were struck off-center, showing part of the blank coin surface while still retaining a visible date. These are highly collectible, especially when the date is readable. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the value. Die cracks and cut errors are also common on older wheat pennies, and the 1952 issues are no exception. These appear as raised lines, cracks, or blobs of metal on the coin, caused by damaged dies during striking, while minor cracks add small value. Major cuts, where metal fills part of the design, can be very valuable. Repunched mint marks are another hidden treasure, especially on Denver and San Francisco coins. This happens when the mint mark was punched into the die more than once, leaving visible, doubling, or shifting. Collectors love these varieties because they represent a hands-on era of coin production when mint marks were manually applied, and each variation tells a story. And then there is color, which many beginners overlook. Copper pennies are classified by color: red, red, brown, and brown, and this matters a lot. A fully red 1952 wheat penny is far more valuable than a brown one because it means the coin has retained its original copper color with minimal oxidation. Red examples are rare, especially from circulation, and collectors compete fiercely for them. This is why professional grading is so important, because it verifies authenticity, condition, and color, which protects buyers and sellers alike. Auction records prove this point again and again with high-grade 1952 wheat pennies selling for prices that shock people who think pennies are worthless. Some collectors have paid thousands for the right coin, and they do it gladly because they understand rarity, history, and long-term value, and as demand for classic American coins continues to grow, the 1952 wheat penny remains one of the most searched and collected dates in the entire series because it sits at the perfect intersection of age, availability, and potential.